This article presents the results of a research study founded by the University of the Basque Country and carried out in collaboration with associations of people with attention deficit hyperactivity disorder, ADHD, from the Basque Country. This study has been directed by Professors Ayerbe and Medrano from the Department of Developmental Psychology and Education. The aim of this study was determining the similarities and differences between teenagers with and without ADHD in terms of television consumption in relation to the family, atmosphere and perception of values. The starting point is the interest in the influence of the media in the socio-personal development of children and teenagers, with a particular emphasis on those with learning difficulties and particularly teenagers with attention deficit hyperactivity disorder. Nowadays, teenagers seek real and fictional points of identification and role models, like family and peers and media characters. Why are teens with ADHD particularly vulnerable to the effects of TV, internet, or other audiovisual media? Due to their individual characteristics, for instance, low tolerance to frustration, difficult interpersonal relations, and the conditions of the environment in which they live, for instance, difficulties to interact with their parents, teachers, and peers. Moreover, the current multi-screen culture offers few opportunities to train one's attention, while the information saturation and excess may prevent the understanding the meaning of the messages. On the other hand, the result of studies that examine the relation between television viewing and attention deficit hyperactivity disorder, ADHD, are not conclusive, because some of them argue that TV has a negative influence on children and teenagers with ADHD, while other studies deny such influence. This study had the participation of 209 teens aged from 14 to 18 years, 25 with ADHD and 184 without ADHD. To investigate the television consumption profile, we used the CHTV-02 questionnaire. To measure the values perceived in the favorite characters, we used an adaptation of Schwartz's 21 Portrait Values Questionnaire scale. These values are organized in two dimensions. 1. Openness to change versus conservation, and 2. Self-enhancement versus self-transcendence. Finally, the SMIDA questionnaire was used to investigate the identification and assessment of ADHD. Results. Regarding television genres preferences, movies, comedy, series, and cartoons are the most selected genres by both groups, although the group with ADHD shows greater preference for comedy shows and cartoons than of series. Initially, the likability, sense of humor, and personality were mentioned by both groups as the most important reasons to select a favorite character, while the least important reasons was physical attractiveness. However, when the reasons for choice are related to the perceived values, work and physical attractiveness are the reasons for choice that show greater correlation with the perceived values. The results of the totality of the sample indicate that the value dimension with the greatest correlation is self-transcendence, followed in equal measure by self-enhancement and openness to change, and then by conservation. These data are quite consistent with the characteristics of adolescents. At this stage, the values of friendship and benevolence are prioritized over more conservative values such as tradition, conformity, or security. In any case, the teens that participate in this study perceive both collectivist and individualist values in their points of identification, and it seems that openness to change and self-enhancement mark the differences between the two main profiles, while the other two value dimensions serve as constant. On the other hand, for the whole sample, the reason for choice that obtained the largest number of significant correlation with the different value dimensions was work followed by physical attractiveness. However, sense of humor has no correlation with values in any subsample, while in the group with ADHD, personality or intelligence had no correlation with values. The normal group associates work with conservation and self-transcendence, while the group with ADHD associates work with openness to change and self-promotion, but with less self-transcendence. With regards to the physical attractiveness, the normal group associates with self-promotion, while in contrast, the ADHD group associates it with fewer conservative values and self-transcendence. With regards to the television profiles, we identified two majority profiles in the whole sample of participants, with scores based on the preferred television genres and the reasons to choose favorite characters. Group 1, called High Profile Low Physical Choice, is the majority group and characterized for undervaluing the physical attractiveness of the favorite TV character, for liking the C genre very much, cartoons, comedy, late night shows, and liking the B genre a little less, series, movies, game shows, soap operas, musicals, liking the A genre very little, talk shows, reality shows, and celebrity gossip shows. Group 2, called Medium High Profile Physical Choice, values the character's physical attractiveness very high and exhibits a medium level of preference for all television genres. Approximately 2/3 of teens with ADHD are part of the Profile 1. They mainly prefer comedy, cartoons, and late-night shows, but do not tend to choose their favorite character based on their physical attractiveness. However, the answers of the normal group are distributed very similar in profiles 1 and 2. Finally, we compare the two majority profiles existing in the whole sample in the family atmosphere. For instance, cohesion, expressiveness, and conflict, and the perceived values, and found significant differences in favor of profile 2. We found that in all cases the group 2 scored higher than group 1 in openness to change, self-enhancement, and in the family dimensions of cohesion and family expressiveness. However, there are no differences related to conflict. Conclusions. It's necessary to continue investigating the establishment of profiles or TV viewer profiles based on a scale score for television genres and reasons to choose TV characters, since this system provides greater accuracy when it comes to designing TV programs in order to make them more attractive for the target audience and encourage more media competition. Although these findings cannot be generalized across the whole population of teens with ADHD due to the small size of the sample, they can contribute to the study of the individual differences in relation to media consumption, in this case for teens with ADHD. In addition, unlike the studies reviewed, this work took into consideration the selected TV genres and favorite characters, as well as the characteristics of family environment, which, due to its mediating role, can be very influential in the perception of values and the interpretation of media content by teens with and without ADHD. As a result, this work has tried to advance in some areas of study that the previous research had not considered. Thank you very much.